Hello, hello, thanks for stopping by. This is Hogwarts Legacy for the PlayStation 5, developed by Avalanche Software and released in 2023. Personally, I don't have a huge connection to the Harry Potter franchise. I've seen one of the movies, and everyone tells me to read the books, but I haven't got around to it. I bought this disc at a great price, and I popped it in not knowing exactly what to expect. Coming out of the gates, I have to say, within the first hour, you can see that a lot was put into this game. The story is about you. You're a new student. You're joining Hogwarts Academy. You get to choose your appearance, and then the plot pretty much begins. You're escorted to the school, and things go astray. You are magic sensitive to a particular type of ancient magic, it seems, and the story is you figuring out exactly what that means. It's kind of similar to the original Harry Potter story, I guess. There's a big bad villain who wants your power. You have to defeat them along the way. It's a basic adventure. There seems to be a lot of Potterverse lore connected to the game, and probably most important, that at least I'm aware of, is that when you get to the academy, you go through that hat-wearing ritual to determine what magic house you attend. You sort of get to pick. I like that. I know it's a big thing in the universe that this is in, and I think there would have been an uproar if they didn't have it, so it's nice that it's here. I think the story is sufficient, and it's accessible. It mirrors what I understand about the Harry Potter tale to an extent. There's a new kid, you have to navigate through learning magic, and there is an enemy in the background. I think that works just fine here. I also like the fact that, in terms of characters, everyone here is new. There's no reference to any of the known characters from the movie or the books, at least not that I'm aware of. The headmaster is different, all the professors are new, although one of them does have the last name of an established character. There is a Professor Weasley here. They also don't tell you what time frame this story occurs. When exactly is this happening compared to when the Harry Potter tale unfolded? I suppose this could be a 500-year-old story, or it could be 100 years in the future. When the story starts, you're not in the real world, so you have no reference point. You were just already traveling, so you don't know what year it is currently. And I have to say that I really like this. If there's more sense in this game as to what the actual time is, I'm not informed enough to know what that might be. Maybe if you're a super fan, you might have an idea as to when this is happening. If so, more power to you. The gameplay is really smooth, and it handles well, very well. This is a PlayStation 5, and as you would expect, it looks awesome. I don't recall any stutters, no graphical problems at all. It handles like a modern game, and if you picked up the controller, you'd understand the basics of moving around pretty quick. Except maybe how to cast magic. Of course, magic is a big deal here, and I was certainly curious to how this was going to unfold, because the best use of any sort of offensive skill or spell in a game, you have to be able to access them fairly quick. You have a few basic spells that are mapped to the D-pad by default. These are the basic ones, like scanning an area, or making yourself a protective shield. These are quick, common things that you do a lot. There are other types of spells, of course, offensive type of things that you're going to need to cast, and these are spells that you have to unlock. The way you unlock them is pretty simple. I mean, a lot of them you get by just going to school and attending a class for a second. You attend the potions class to learn how to make potions, that sort of thing. You're going to use the right triggers, and that's how you cast your spells. And you have a default zap, of course, that's great, basic, and then you can scroll through other spells as you need them. You have various fire blasts, or levitation, freeze, stuff like that. You map clusters of spells and you scroll through them as needed, and it sort of helps you get to spells on the fly. We also get an interesting rock, paper, scissors sort of concept as well. Your spells are going to have colors. We get yellow, red, blue, and purple, and this comes into play when you're fighting other wizards. If someone has a purple shield, you need to use a purple-based spell to counteract it. That part took me a little while to get the hang of, but it does make sense, and it made for some difficult boss fights. Especially if you're fighting a bunch of wizards that have different colored shields, you're going to have to find yourself switching back and forth a lot. It's also important to note that there's a lot of stuff to do in this game. A real lot. I beat this game and there were still plenty of spells that I had yet to unlock. It was a cursed tree of spells. I didn't find one out of the entire bunch. You get a ton of side missions, and you can do these just by interacting with different people through the game. Many of these side missions are not that elaborate, just a single task or two. And there are also tons of items to find. The items you find, I find that mostly you're going to look through them to see if they're better than what you have, but probably you're going to sell them off or use them in crafting. There are a lot of chests to open here too, plenty of areas to explore. I was actually really surprised how big this map was. I was a good 10 to 15 hours into this before an entire new section opened up on the bottom of the map. I was really surprised when it happened. You can spend a sizable amount of time in this game just wandering around looking at stuff. That's you exploring the castle or the countryside and generally just talking to people and helping them out. You can avoid the main plot for quite some time and still feel like you're doing plenty. You do grow in levels as you gain experience, and I'm pretty sure the level cap is 40. I finished the main story at 30, so there's definitely some headroom for me to keep playing. I do have plenty of thoughts on the game, of course. First, I do think this was worth my time and money. I would imagine it's twice as valuable if you're a fan. Now, my criticisms, I suppose, they're probably all pretty minor, but of course it's just my point of view. But there are certain things that I wish were maybe a little more focused. You attend classes, but it just feels like you barely have to attend classes. Being that this is about you as a fifth-year student at Hogwarts, I just thought there would be much more focus on me attending classes. When I play the Persona games, I have to go to class pretty much every day. Here it's almost an afterthought. I think a bit more classroom time, forced classroom time, it would have been nice. You don't level up your wand or your spells like you would expect, or like I would expect. You can put upgrade charms into your clothing. That will boost your various configurations, but you don't level up your spells directly, and new levels just don't make you stronger in that way. Grinding isn't something that gets your damage higher, and that's what you usually do in other games, and I guess I was used to it because I kind of missed it here. There are many things in the game that you can do, of course, but there are things that you don't seem to need to do to get through to the end. Like, you can capture and breed animals. Well, I set up a pen to breed animals, but I don't think I bred one, so it's not necessary to beat the game. You can make and use potions, but out of the list of potions, I really only needed one potion, and that's a healing potion. Yeah, some of the other potions could be helpful, but I don't recall being forced to use them outside of maybe once, just to get an achievement, or to complete a simple task. In combat, I didn't find myself wanting to use them at all, so you could probably ignore most of the potion crafting for the whole game. The bar for getting your broom also felt really low. I recall one quick class, and then they gave me a broom. At that, I was just off to flying, doing whatever I wanted. It just felt like they could have put a whole system in place behind learning to fly, instead of just having me feel like an expert so quick. If there was some sort of an upgrade tree, maybe. Something that gets you a little faster, or maybe more accurate with turns. Make me earn that broom more than I'm currently having to do right now. I did enjoy it as it is, but it does feel like a missed opportunity. It also feels like I managed to get to the end of this game without ever really making any friends with other characters. I wasn't forced to interact with them that much. Just enough to maybe get one thing unlocked, and then they didn't matter anymore. I was able to do this game pretty much as a solo act, and I think it would have been nice to have a few more opportunities to interact with some characters a bit more. There's also this beautiful library, and it seems to me as a student, I kind of should have been forced to do more in the library. Like, I don't know, study? It's minor, but it's something I thought about for sure. I think there was only one mission in there. It's also kind of amazing to me that in this game you are basically a teenager, murdering other characters with your magic spells. There's no blood in this game per se, but I killed plenty of people directly with magic. I knocked a bunch of them off of cliffs too. There's just something interesting and amusing about this fact. And, well, you can do with it what you will, but I found it amusing. Hogwarts Legacy is a lengthy adventure with really awesome graphics and a pretty interesting story. The castle and the town, they look appropriate to the lore, as I understand it anyway. And wandering around these grounds is plenty interesting itself. After beating the game, there's still clearly plenty to do, but I'm not sure how much more I'm going to want to poke around. But it's there, and I imagine fans of Harry Potter would really, really love this game. It is super solid all around. Well, that is all I have today for Hogwarts Legacy for the PlayStation 5. Thank you for stopping by for a look, and I hope to catch you on another one.